Well, hey everybody, Paul here, and I want to ask you, what's one piece of advice that you've heard that's helped you? For me, I think of the time that I was with my dad on the Mississippi River. My dad was canoeing the entire length of the river, and I had joined him for a little bit, and there was one part of the river called the Sauk Rapids. It was this long stretch of rapid water, and if you weren't careful, your canoe could capsize and you could get really hurt or worse. The night before the rapids, my dad and we hunkered over his phone and we were looking up tutorials on YouTube that gave instructions on how to navigate these rapids. And it was like, paddle up the right side, then bank hard left once you see the thing on the barn and coast through. And sure enough, we did exactly that. See, my dad had said if it wasn't for those instructions, we probably would have done it wrong and our trip would end real short. We managed, not because we had been there, but because someone else had. See, the next few weeks, we'll be diving into the book of Proverbs. What is a proverb? Simply put, a proverb is a short saying that conveys some sort of wisdom. We have proverbs now, like don't judge a book by its cover, or no use crying over spilled milk. These sayings convey wisdom from people's experiences that we can follow, not because we've been there, but because someone else has, like canoeing through rapids you've never been to. You can learn from these people who are writing thousands of years before you were born, dealing with the same problems that you're dealing with now. The book of Proverbs is filled with wisdom that applies to so much of everyday life. Money, work, relationships, friends, your words, how you treat your parents, there's so much. But the one thing that separates the book of Proverbs from just helpful pieces of advice is this concept of the fear of the Lord. Now, you've maybe heard that phrase before, but Proverbs says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Wisdom starts with the fear of the Lord. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that we should be afraid of God or who God is. It doesn't mean that God is some evil tyrant who we need to be careful not to anger. It means that God's ways are so much higher than ours that we can't help but be in awe of him. It's a healthy respect for how God views the world. When we read the Proverbs, we recognize that it comes from the lived experience of people so much wiser than us, but we also recognize that this wisdom ultimately comes from God's wisdom. And when we read Proverbs, it's not just some helpful guide, it's divine knowledge and wisdom that has been gifted to us. So with that being said, let's take a look at how we can put this into practice, how we can replace our understanding with God's.
Our words matter. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits." So what does this mean? In the Bible, words are often seen as seeds that produce fruit that is either good or bad. Matthew 7 talks about how you will know a tree by its fruit, whether the fruit brings life or destruction, shows if the tree was good or evil. So if words are seeds, they grow and produce trees. Those trees then grow to produce fruit. Therefore, our words can hold the power of death or of life. Luke 6:45 says, "The good man brings good things out of the good treasure of his heart, and the evil man brings evil things out of the evil treasure of his heart. For out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks." Let me say that again. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. So a question for you, what is in your heart? For this often determines what words you speak. As we are going through the book of Proverbs, learning about the topic of wisdom and what that looks like, are we being wise with the words that we speak? How do we speak life? Have you ever been involved in something and wondered if it was making a difference? One time I was giving a devotional to a group of people and I wasn't sure if it was impacting them the way I had hoped or it had personally impacted me. And so I delivered the devotional, and after the fact, someone came up to me and said, "God was speaking to me about that exact same thing. Thank you for saying what you said." That spoke life to me, and that encouraged me that not only had I heard the Lord correctly, but that it impacted those around me. So I believe that how we get our heart to speak life is by going to the author of life, for God is the author of life. As you read in the Bible, God promises to do a work in you. So allow him to change your heart, for that will result in your words changing. God is a God of love, so he can help us speak loving words to those around us. A practical way to do this is to start encouraging your friends, your classmates, your parents, or your siblings. Open your eyes and look around to see things in them that you appreciate. Give them compliments on their hair, their shoes, or how kind they were to you the other day. My mom always encourages me to never withhold a compliment, for a compliment is a gift. It's a way to speak words of life to someone, and this has the potential to change their day, just like that person spoke encouraging words to me. So, what are some ways we can grow to be wiser with our words, to use them for good instead of destruction? How can we speak life into every room we walk into? As we go into these groups, reflect on this verse and these questions. May we all grow in being wiser with our words.